Hey, welcome back to Golf WRX's Winning What's in the Bag, where this week we're going to take a look at Tommy Fleetwood's winning bag from the DP World India Championship. Tommy's just on a great run. I mean, finishes on the PGA Tour season with the Tour Championship win, has a great Ryder Cup. I think he went like 4-1-0 or something like that, a great Ryder Cup, and now wins the DP World India Championship. So playing really, really good golf right now. Yeah, congratulations to him on another victory in 2025. Now, interesting setup for Tommy here in his What's in the Bag. A lot of guys over there not playing drivers. I mean, the big story about Rory not playing drivers, but I think I heard Ben Griffin was playing driver. Tommy Fleetwood's not playing driver. A bunch of guys aren't playing driver just because I guess the layout of the course did not require it. A lot of dog legs and shots that you only need to hit the ball certain distances. So drivers were pretty much out of the bag. And then, from what I've heard reading about it, most players, if anything, you're hitting driver maybe twice if you did have it in the bag. So I'm going to jump into Tommy's What's in the Bag here. He is a TaylorMade staff member, so of course, pretty much everything in this bag is TaylorMade, and we'll jump into it. So start at the top of the bag, and top of the bag is not a driver, but it is a mini driver. This is the TaylorMade R7 Quad Mini. So the mini driver they just came out with has 4 movable weights. Comes in 11.5 or 13.5 degrees. Tommy is playing the 13.5 degree model. Kind of has that cool old R7 Quad look from back in the day when you look on the sole of it, but of course updated, much smaller head. A lot of mini drivers, guys play these things. They're kind of easier to hit than a 3-wood, just a little faster, a little more speed, a little bit more forgiveness with a larger head. And honestly, a lot of players like the fact that they can turn them over pretty easy. The center of gravity is a little bit closer to the shaft, makes it a little easier to rotate at impact and hit a little bit more of a draw. So some guys play driver as kind of maybe a fade option and then a mini driver as a draw option. But he's playing mini driver, the 13.5 degree. The actual loft on this one is actually 13 degree, and the sleeve on it is set one click lower to one click to the lower side compared to the standard upright. Now, the weights on this one are, he's got a 10 gram in the toe, 15 gram in the heel, and 2 3-gram weights in the back. So, of course, that's should bring down spin a little bit, maybe lower launches to touch as they shift more of that mass up towards the front near the face. And, of course, a little bit more, weight in the heel, making it maybe a slight bit easier to turn over, maybe a little bit more draw bias compared to, a more neutral setup. Now, this is shafted up with a Fujikuro Ventus TR Blue 6X. So, yes, not a super heavy. He's playing this much more like a driver with a 60-gram shaft. Comes in at 68 grams, 2.9 degrees of torque. Mid-launch, low spin. I think it launches just a hair lower. I consider it kind of mid-low launch, low spin. This is the one that's got the spread toe fabric up near the handle, so it's a little bit stiffer up in the handle compared to the standard Ventus Blue that is out there. He tips this 1 inch in this setup, and the length is 43.5 inches long with a swing weight of D4. So then the next club in his bag, which is also going to be a little bit unique, you'd expect he's playing that when you go. He's going 5-wood. So the next step in the bag is 5-wood, and it is the TaylorMade Qi35 5-wood. This is an 18 degree head. It's also the bonded hosel version. I know the retail one, it's got the adjustable hosel, which I truly love because you can kind of adjust, switch shafts, do all that. But on tour, they've got these bonded hosels that I believe also have a slightly different shape to them. When you look at it, I think it's got a little bit more of the Qi10 shape to it, where it's a little more kind of arc, a little more taper from the heel into the back of the club instead of being the bigger rounded look that we see at retail. His has an actual loft of 17.5 degrees, and the shaft on this one is a Mitsubishi Kuro Kage XTS 80TX. Now, this is an interesting shaft because it's tour only. The XTS was actually the prototype before they came out with the XT. I think we talked about XT just 2 weeks ago or so with Rory playing a Kuro Kage XT. The XTS was the tour only prototype before the XT came out to retail. So tour only proto, kind of like mid-low launch, mid-low spin, but a really smooth, stable feel for those players. 80TX, tour only part. I don't have any specs for it because they don't exist online, at least that I can find. But it's going to be probably around that 85 to 88 grams. And like I said, fairly stiff. This one also has that TI, the titanium nickel wire that runs through a good portion of the tip section in order to stabilize it and kind of help with the feel as well. Now this one's tipped 2 inches in the 5-wood, playing at 42.25 inches long and a swing weight of D4. So then the next fairway he moves to is the 9-wood. Yes, he goes mini driver, 5-wood, 9-wood. So a pretty interesting setup, but hey, it worked for Tommy, so you can't complain. So the 9-wood here is going to be the TaylorMade Qi10. So of course, yes, the previous year generation, the Qi10, there's a 24-degree head in the 9-wood. His actually is lofted at 22.5 degrees. But these 9-woods have started to show up on tour. I think Adam Scott had a 9-wood in the bag. I think we've seen Dustin Johnson with a 9-wood. 9-woods are starting to show up, and a good alternative for basically a 4-iron a little bit. Or if that loft works, it could replace a 3-iron depending on the setup and makeup. But these things here, they tend to fly a little bit higher, land a little softer, and go a little further than an equivalent iron or hybrid at that same loft. Now this one here is shafted up with the same shaft, the Mitsubishi Kuro Kage 80T X. And this shaft, I think, came out probably around 2014-15. It's hard to tell sometimes with the tour stuff because it may come out a little bit earlier on a tour. But it was around that time that they brought this shaft out for testing. A lot of guys played it. And then, again, we got that retail XT later on. And basically, they just extended that titanium nickel wire up through the tip section, made it a little bit longer for those stronger players, those players who hit it a little harder. They were asking for some added stability there, and Mitsubishi brought out this shaft. So, again, not 100% sure on exact specs, but kind of mid-low launch, mid-low spin as well. Now this one here, same thing, tip 2 inches, playing at 41.5 inches in the 9-wood with a swing weight of D4. Then we jump right into the irons, and Tommy's, of course, playing his traditional irons, which are the TaylorMade P7TWs. He's playing these 4-through pitching wedge. Now, these are the blades that, of course, Tiger had a big hand in helping develop. They've got the milled grind sole that has a sole that's built kind of for Tiger's turf interaction needs. Really thin top line, slightly longer blade length heel to toe, so they're not a super tiny blade. They actually do look slightly stretched out, but the face progression does happen as that 4-iron, 5-iron kind of do look a little bit more stretched out and thinner face. When you get down to like kind of the 8-9 pitching wedge, that face definitely looks a little bit taller, a little bit more traditional look. So built to kind of Tiger's eye, not a lot of tech. They're just like a single piece forged blade like they should be. Feel amazing. They do have just a slight bit of tungsten right behind where impact is to kind of direct some of the mass there, I guess to help kind of with one feel, and two, sometimes people get into putting mass directly behind strike position offers a better performing ball flight there. So these are shafted up with Project X 6.5. So this is the original Project X shaft. I know on their website they listed as low launch, low spin. I think it has an initial kind of high launch, but a very flat apex, very flat trajectory, and they are low spin. Very boardy, kind of stiff feel to them. Great for those bigger hitters or those stronger players who are looking for that feel of stability and control, but not a lot of flex to them. They don't load like a dynamic gold or anything like that. They pretty much stay right there. Not a lot of kick at impact, but a great shaft if you need to control spin and your apex there. Now, lofts on these, he plays them a little bit kind of strong, 22-degree 4-iron, 34-degree 7-iron, and then a 47-degree pitching wedge. So the pitching wedge is pretty much a 47, which is that set, the stock specs. I believe 34 in the 7-iron is a little bit strong, as is the 4-iron there. For this lie angle, he plays all these 2 degrees flat, and the length is 1/4 inch long. Now the swing weight on all these irons there is D4, so not too crazy heavy there, compared to what is at retail. Now wedges, we jump into those, and his wedge setup is also a little bit interesting because the first wedge in his bag is a TaylorMade High Toe 4. So this is a 52.9 ATS grind. So this grind here is kind of the standard sole, a little bit of camber to it, a little bit of roundness, so it gets through the turf well. Great for full shots or shots playing the face square to the target. I know I always say that, but it's interesting because the high toes are not something you typically see at the tour level, and if you do, typically it's a lob wedge. The high toe 4 is a little bit more traditional looking. The toe is a little bit higher. The ball should come out maybe just a little bit flatter because more mass is pushed up that head. So maybe it comes out a little bit flatter trajectory while still carrying a good amount of spin. The shaft on this one is a True Temper Dynamic Gold Tour Shoe S400. So again, we talk about this one all the time, about 132 grams, mid to mid-low launching, mid-low spin, but real traditional, good feel to it there. The lying on this one is 61.5 degrees, and he plays the length at 35.5 inches with a swing weight of D4. Now, the next 2 wedges in the bag, the first one, they're both going to be TaylorMade milled grind Protos, which ended up being the milled grind 5. They didn't have the actually MG5 logo on it. They said, prototype, but they're milled grind 5s. He's playing a 5612 SB, and much like the high toe Proto, the SB is the standard bound sole, the standard sole, which again has some good camber to it, so it gets you the turf well. The trailing edge does have a little bit of relief down in the heel, so you can open it up and play some higher lofted shots without worrying about too much of catching it low in the face. Great out of the bunker, great in the rough. It's just kind of all around a really well-performing sole design. 12 degrees of bounce. The shaft on this one, same thing, True Temper Dynamic Gold Tour Shoe S400. And then the other wedge is his lob wedge, which is the 60-10 SB. So for 60 degrees, maybe a slight bit more bounce. I think 10 degrees has become kind of the norm now for 60s. You can definitely go up from there. You can definitely go down. But again, SB sole there. And this one, much like the 56 I just talked about, a really versatile sole design. So yes, if you throw it wide open, that leading edge may come up off the ground, a little bit more compared to, say, the low bounce version. But again, when you have the skill of Tommy Fleetwood, that's not going to make a huge difference. He's going to get that thing at the low point, at the correct spot, and he's going to hit some solid shots. But these wedges here, really great. So they have the raw grooves on them, and they spin really well around the green, whether you're hitting out of the rough, out of the fairway. Good feel because they are forged now, so a nice soft feel to them. And they still have a little bit of MG4, a little bit more squarer, boxy toe that I think flows fairly well from your iron set into your wedges in terms of a look at address. But these both are shafted up with True Temper Dynamic Gold Tour Shoe S400s. Both have a lie angle of 61.5 degrees, and he's playing the 56 at 35.25 inches and the 60 degree at 35 inches. Both have a swing weight of D4. So I'm moving to putter, and his putter is, of course, that unique putter. It is a TaylorMade Spider Tour Black, kind of that OG look with the little wings. I like to call them like the jet engines on the wings there, where there's the two weights, but a really stable design. It's been around for a long time. Now, of course, his is the all-black model, orange sole plate, and it's got the short slant neck. So that slant neck there is going to give it a little bit more toe hang. It's going to feel a little bit more like a blade through the stroke. If you remember, Tommy used to play that old Odyssey with a little flow neck that had a lot of toe hang. This here has a little bit. It's not face balance, and it's not like his old blade, but it's got some toe hang, so it should rotate through the swing with some of that toe flow, that feel of it kind of getting back to square. Now this one here, of course, on the top, has its very unique alignment aid that was actually hand drawn on. It was something that he tried, and they hand drew it on, and he just really liked it and has been putting really well with it. I mean, you can't complain with what he's done the past few weeks, month out on tour. I guess the rumor is that they made him a legit one that had the lines that were all done by machine and all that. And he doesn't like it as much, so he's keeping the hand-drawn alignment on there with the little hash marks that frame the ball, help him line it up, but definitely a unique look to it, but it's working for him. So the insert on the face is, of course, the Pure Roll insert, which is that Surlyn, which is kind of like a golf ball cover. Kind of a softer feel. It does have the Pure Roll horizontal grooves on it, so it puts immediate forward spin on the ball, less hopping, less skipping, a little bit more consistent roll on that ball. Now this one here is at 2.5 degrees of loft, which isn't super uncommon. I've heard of a few people who've hit the Pure Roll inserts that tend to take a little bit loft off, but 2.5 degrees there, a lie of 69 degrees, and he plays the length at 34 inches. Now this one, the grip has a Super Stroke 2.0 mid slim. So this is the kind of the no taper, kind of straight grip that everybody's kind of known Super Stroke for. Kind of rounded on the backside, flat on the top, or a good place to put your thumbs. But the 2.0 is kind of that mid size. It's not they make much bigger and they make a couple smaller, but it's kind of that mid size. And that larger size just kind of calms the hands a little bit, can take some of the wrist movement out of it, and maybe stop some of that slight yippy movement that some people have through their putting stroke. Then we move to ball, and his ball is the TaylorMade TP5 X Pix. So yes, he plays the Pix version, the one with the little triangles on it that are orange and black and gray, and he likes that ball. So that's what he plays on there. The Pix actually have no performance change, but they do for some people. When you line it up and you hit a putt and it rolls end over end, you can kind of see the white, the orange and black, and it kind of makes a line. You can tell you've hit a good putt with it. Other people just like the look, and Tommy just must like the look of that, or he lines it up. But he plays the Pix version, and the TP5 the TP5 X is kind of the lower spinning, lower launching ball compared to the TP5, a little firmer feel to it as well. Now for grips, why would he play just one grip? He's not traditional, so neither are his grip setup. So his grips on the woods and wedges are going to be Golf Pride Tour Velvet BCT cords, 58 rounds. The BCT cord is basically their cord grip. It's a tour velvet rubber, and it has a cotton cord that runs through it. Now, the BCT, originally, I believe the BCT was kind of the softer version. I think the first cord was really, really rough. And then they made a BCT version that was a little bit softer, a little bit easier on the hands. And now I believe they just make the BCT. But that cord works great for kind of wet weather, humid weather, sweaty hands. Just adds a layer of traction there to the grip. And then for his irons, he plays the Iomic Sticky Blue 2.3s, which is the 2.3, I believe is like the measurement of the grip, which equals the standard size. They're a little bit thinner than a traditional grip, but they're made out of a unique material that isn't quite natural rubber. It's kind of a different, like elastomer material that feels definitely unique, but it's very tacky, very grippy, and it holds up really, really well. If you buy Iomic grips, like they're not cheap, but they last a long time. But they're very unique feel to them, good grip, and they're basically built so they don't have a lot of torsional flexibility, so they kind of stay in the hand and they don't rotate very much. But a really good grip there. But that is Tommy Fleetwood's winning What's in the Bag from the DP World India Championship. Congratulations to him on yet another win. The guy is just rolling. So hopefully he keeps it going into 2026. Love to see some more wins from him on the PGA Tour when he comes back, and maybe even a major. So, but that's it for winning What's in the Bag. Check back next week when we jump into the next winners What's in the Bag.